Hope you're doing well. Hope you're blessed. Hope you're coming more into the fullness and the life that God has for you in Christ. I don't know who came up with this study, but I'm reminded of Lance Wall now. He talks about the 7 mountains. He talks about the media. He talks about government. He talks about schools. He talks about all the different mountains. It's all going to be invaded with the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom with the rule of God. The sons of God manifesting in the earth. Let's see how old Moffat renders that. Romans 8, from chapter 8. It says here, even the creation waits with eager longing for the sons of God to be revealed. For creation was not rendered futile by its own choice, but by the will of him who thus made it subject, the hope being that creation as well as man would one day be freed from its thraldom to decay and gain the glorious freedom of God's children. Thraldom simply means the state of being under the control of another person, or the state of being in bondage or servitude. Essentially, being controlled by another person or entity. Bondage. So what is he saying? He's saying God has destined us to be like Jesus. And as we grow into that mature sonship and we become more and more like Jesus and his character and life revealed in our lives, we start acting like Jesus because he's living in us and we're yielding to him and he's working in us. That character and that manifestation is going to fill the earth, redeeming even the creation. Now, where I come from, I grew up, we kicked that can down the road because the best you can hope for down here is just to barely get by, do the best you can in the struggle, and when you die, you go to heaven. But one day Jesus is going to come back, and Jesus is going to kick everybody to hell that has rejected him, and then he's going to set up his kingdom, rule and reign on the earth for 1,000 years, and it's going to be a rod of iron. Thinking about a rod of iron, it's like, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to slap the hell out of you, and it's going to take your head off when I do. You're going to wish you had her. That's not what love does. So creation itself is awaiting its deliverance from the bondage that is in the curse from which it was delivered through Jesus. It says God was in Christ reconciling the world, the cosmos, to himself. God has reconciled. God has brought peace. That's what he has accomplished. I'm going to read this next verse in Romans 8 from the Moffat translation, verse 22. It says, to this day we know the entire creation sighs and throbs with pain. And not only so, but even we ourselves who have the Spirit as a foretaste of the future, even we sigh deeply to ourselves as we wait for the redemption of the body. That means our full sonship. We were saved with this hope ahead. So he's talking about how the creation is groaning, sighing, longing, looking for what? What it says here in Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 5. That's verse 6. Verse 5, it says, let me just get verse 4 with it, so it'll be a complete sentence. He chose us in him ere the world was founded, to be consecrated and unblemished in his sight, destining us in love to be his sons through Jesus Christ. Such was the purpose of his will, redounding to the praise of his glorious grace bestowed on us in the beloved. Now I want to make mention again what I talked about earlier about this destining us as sons. It means he's determined to grow us up into mature sons. And that's the plan. And that's the purpose. That's what God is doing. That's what he accomplished in Christ. And now this plan is unfolding, working in our lives. Let me read on. In whom we enjoy our redemption, the forgiveness of our trespasses by the blood he shed. So richly has God lavished upon us his grace, granting us complete insight and understanding of the open secret of his will, showing us how it was the purpose of his design, so to order it in the fullness of the ages, that all things in heaven and earth alike should be gathered up in Christ, in the Christ in whom we have had our heritage allotted us, as was decreed in the design of him who carries out everything according to the counsel of his will, to make us redound to the praise of his glory by being the first to put our hope in Christ. See, he's talking about that plan, this unfolding plan whereby God is bringing all things in heaven and earth into Christ, into their fullness. Colossians talks about our everything finding completion in him. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Let me get off here, and I'll come back on the other side. Y'all be blessed.